In New York City, mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani's idea of city-owned grocery stores to reduce prices for consumers, theoretically, a core campaign pledge that propelled his upset victory over Andrew Cuomo last month, has mostly become a meme.
As mayor, I will create a network of city-owned grocery stores. These stores will operate without a profit motive or having to pay property taxes or rent, and will pass on those savings to you.
It makes fun of itself. It's the subject of a lot of jokes, a lot of mockery. Oh, that silly commie Mamdani. There he goes trying to seize the means of the cereal aisle again. He's always after me Lucky Charms, but I guess it's our Lucky Charms now. And of course, there is no such thing as a free breakfast or a free lunch. Everything consumes resources to make, so everything has a cost of production. Even magically delicious four-leaf clover marshmallows don't just magically appear. And so even though all that mockery and rejection and scorn is well-deserved, I think a more thorough explanation is still worthwhile too. Why is a publicly owned grocery store such a bad idea? Because after all, we have publicly owned business operations of many types already, and like this, often for the most crucial goods and services. Publicly owned hospitals, for example, there are hundreds of them across the country. Transit systems are often publicly owned and operated. Utility services, power, water. These are often publicly owned operations too. And all these things seem to work mostly fine. Granted, public transit certainly has its questionable episodes, but for the most part, these systems operate without causing total destruction or hammers and sickles smashing and slashing everyone to death. So why not a government-owned food business? Well, it's not really about who could run such a business. Anybody could, theoretically. It's more about the philosophy with which they do and the rules that govern how it works. Supply and demand. As long as the person operating the business can supply the goods at a price that satisfies the demand, well, then that business can succeed. But that's just it. Prices are set by those forces, the market, not by some hero arbitrarily declaring what he thinks fair prices should be. Everything has a cost to produce and bring to market. So prices for consumers will be that cost plus one. So there's a profit. But the thing about the grocery industry is that plus one profit margin is actually very slim. Food is a very in-demand item. Everybody needs it, everybody buys it, and the barriers to entry for the business are pretty low. Almost anybody can sell food at some scale, even if it's not major supermarket scale. What those factors mean is a lot of competition. Where there's a lot of competition, prices will drop, and those who can sell food at the slimmest possible margins will be the ones who succeed and survive. Current grocery industry profit margins are just 1.6%. So for every dollar of sales at a grocery store, the store is earning just a penny and a half. Grocery stores rely on volume to make money. If you're only making pennies per sale, well, you can still make money with a lot of sales. And since everybody buys food, that's how they do it. So for anyone to succeed in running a grocery business, it starts with recognizing that reality. Profit margins are very slim, not excessive, but Mamdani, of course, does not. He tells you the opposite. Higher food prices in recent years are driven by grocer greed.
Grocery prices are out of control. The cost of eggs and milk has skyrocketed. We will redirect city funds from corporate supermarkets to city-owned grocery stores, whose mission is lower prices, not price gouging.
But he's not greedy. He's a good guy government suit. The truth, of course, is the opposite. The reason food prices have increased in recent years is because of supposed good guy government suits, not greedy producers. Again, supply and demand set prices. What did government do? They constrained supply with a bunch of COVID lockdown nonsense, and they increased demand by handing out a bunch of supposedly free money. More money pursuing fewer goods means increased prices, no matter how much the good guy government suit furrows his brow and shakes his fist in disapproval. It's a law as true as gravity. No matter how unfair you think it is, if you jump off a high point, you're going to splatter. So recognize that truth or pay the price. And there is one other factor that affects these prices too. Crime. When store assets are stolen or customers are scared away by criminal activity, the store will have to make up for those losses, and they'll have to charge more to do it, and so prices increase. All of these factors mean that for a grocery store or any business to operate successfully, the government needs to get two philosophical understandings straight. One, what is the proper role of government? Is it securing the rights of the people to provide for themselves, or is it to provide for people? We know how Mamdani answers that one.
The job of city government isn't to tinker around the edges while 1 in 4 children across our city go hungry.
And 2, do the people in any particular business actually know something about how to operate in that business, or are they all just bad guys? We know how Mamdani answers that one too.
We've seen that when a feasibility study was done in Chicago, it was shown to be something that was not only feasible, but pressing and urgent in an urban setting. It cost less than half of what the city's already set to spend on subsidizing corporate supermarkets without any guarantee of cheaper prices, any guarantee of collective bargaining agreements, or that they accept SNAP or WIC.
Get both of those questions right, that government exists to secure the rights of the people to produce and exchange goods, but not to produce the goods itself, and that the people who actually are productive probably know something about productivity, and so the government should facilitate them, not take them over. Get those things right, and you'll have prosperity, or at least the most possible goods at the lowest possible prices. Get those questions wrong, though, that government exists to provide the goods itself and to drive those greedy people who are productive out of business, and you'll get no productivity at all, or very little. You'll get empty shelves. When we believe in free lunches like that, we get a harsh lesson otherwise, that there is something much worse than an expensive lunch, actually, and that's no lunch at all. And it's not just theory for Mamdani or any of his New York believers to consider. It's observable in practice. For as much as this idea is mocked, it's not even that new, really. It's just uncommon. They have tried this in Kansas City for years now. Let's establish a city-owned grocery store to clean up the mess that all those private grocers made. And since this video has been so theory-heavy to start, I'll just skip straight to the lesson at the end. Here's the produce aisle at the Kansas City publicly owned grocery store. You get your choice of 1 tomato, but at least it's a pretty decent-looking tomato. It's not bruised. Still looks pretty firm. You could still eat it for sure, but it might make more sense to starve and throw it at the politicians who did this instead. And no, that is not an isolated photo taken at some odd time, like right after the city's BLT convention or something. That is one of many images featured in the Washington Post story on this store last week. With your 1 tomato, you can also have your choice of 1 bottle of juice, or the handful of bags of chips that don't even fill up half of an aisle that would otherwise be stocked with options. And if your kid is the type who's always trying to grab candy at the checkout, well, don't worry. Here, there's almost no candy to grab at all. So what happened? Well, the same thing. The city got confused about the role of government. They tried to be a producer instead of protecting producers. They thought they could operate a business better than actual business operators can. The Kansas City government bought this shopping center for $17 million a decade ago. They own this grocery store facility and they lease it to a nonprofit that operates it, with ambitions similar to what Mamdani is saying in New York. They will do what private business could not: turn this struggling area into a gold mine, as though gold mines just appear if you will it. That's the thing about a gold mine. Gold is a necessary prerequisite. If there actually was any gold here, people would be mining it already. There's a reason that they're not, and the city is learning that lesson over time. Because they're trying to undersell in an industry where there is no room in the profit margin to sell any lower, they are losing money massively, almost $1 million a year. So to stay in business, they need cash from the city. Public money. And the city recently granted $750,000 more, but it doesn't matter. As long as the store's model loses money, they'll just keep needing more. So the claim that you save money this way is bunk. The food isn't any cheaper, if it's even there at all, and the penny or two that you might save at checkout is made up for with taxes or government money that's taken from you in ways otherwise. And of course, products aren't plentiful or cheaper when people just steal what's there anyway, as described when government confuses its role from securing the rights of the productive to trying to provide the product itself. You get neither. Rights are not secured, and productivity stops. Kansas City has suffered that confusion. Like many major urban centers, they don't like jailing criminals, so much so that they closed their jail in 2009 as a supposed cost-saving measure. The problem is the criminals then impose their costs on the rest of society. instead of getting removed from society. A Kansas City police officer quoted in the Washington Post reporting says because criminals are mostly just released instead of jailed, it's the same group of offenders every week at the grocery store, known by face and name, ruining it for everybody. They get arrested, they get released, and they just hop on the free bus and do it all over again. It really is amazing just how costly free things actually are. And they've tried the no gun sign at the store too, but for whatever anti-shooting deterrence it's supposed to have, and probably doesn't, it is not deterring crime. Or, as this Washington Post reporting euphemistically describes it, it's not deterring social issues. See, if you want to succeed with a publicly owned grocery store, you gotta factor in social issues. And boy, oh boy, do they have social issues at this store. The typical drug dealing, theft, and vagrancy are the norm, but there are occasionally much more odd depravities too. Destruction of store property in the nude, a guy peeing in the store entryway, a couple fornicating in plain sight on the nearby library lawn. And not only have these behaviors taken products off the shelves directly, but they've discouraged and scared shoppers away, too. When the store opened a few years ago, 14,000 people shopped there a week. Now, only 4,000 do. And all that crime makes the store nearly uninsurable, too. The former insurance company recently dropped its coverage, and a new insurer has stepped up to offer it at a 45% higher rate. Meaning what? Still more operating costs, either paid by consumers at checkout or by another delivery of their tax dollars later. Or both. The tomato shopping woman featured in the Washington Post story calls the stock at the store pathetic and says, quote, "Every neighborhood deserves a good grocery store." No, they do not. Grocery stores or productivity or modern conveniences of any form don't just happen. Someone has to make them, and for someone to make them, it has to be worth their time and effort. They have to make money, and they have to be protected from criminal degeneracy. Or they just won't. It is an exchange. It is not a right. If you think everyone deserves a grocery store, well, then the grocery store also deserves the conditions that make it possible. You are not entitled to their work. They are not your slaves. Prosperity is not the default. It has to be built, it has to be earned, and almost always, government cannot build it itself. It can only protect the rights of those who do. Because the truth is, even with the best intent, nobody is even capable of building success in all things everywhere. It's hard enough to do with one thing in one spot because it requires specialized knowledge gained from working on a particular thing for a long time. There is no central boss who knows how to do everything better than everybody else does. Aside from the economic denialism of how prices work, that's the biggest lie at the center of this thinking. If Zoran Mamdani or the Kansas City government actually knew how to run businesses successfully, they'd be running businesses successfully. There's a reason they extract their money from productive people at gunpoint instead. And it's because they aren't productive themselves. Understanding all of that is the key to understanding the Kansas City lesson and maybe preventing a New York City lesson too. When the government promises a gold mine, they only deliver famine. So don't ask them to feed you. Ask them for the security necessary so that you can feed yourself. That is their only legitimate role. Or near famine, I guess I shouldn't overstate. Like the lady in the story, you may have gone to the store for ingredients to make nachos, but the closest you can get is a Skittles tomato. But hey, add a little Velveeta cheese and maybe you got something kind of like a candied apple. Call it a commied apple and just go with it. And you better enjoy that meal too, because after all, at least you're not starving. Up against this philosophy, every single meal is a win. And just like that shopping lady said, it's a meal well deserved too. When you buy into this fraud and you put these people in power, that's exactly what you get. And of course, be even more thankful that, at least for now, there is still that privately owned grocery store a few miles down the street. However inconvenient that may be for you. You know, the one with the ridiculously high price gouging that any honest and decent person could so easily undercut, but the government can't for some reason. Well, if we can't gain plentiful food out of the deal, we would be smart to gain the available wisdom and accept the conclusion to which those premises naturally lead. almost always the government is not a group of honest and decent people. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on X, that is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chatting my live streams as live on Wednesday and Sunday nights. Looking forward to it. Come on. Hey, if you made it all the way to the end of the video, that means you probably found some value in the video. If you found some value in the video, please consider supporting my material. You can do that one time or recurring for as little as $1 a month. It not only helps me sustain, but it helps me pay the people who make my videos possible. Linked in the description for you, mattchristiansenmedia.com/support. Thanks for listening.